Questions for now? We got the sound sync, and then we'll have Gerald take it away and forget about the cameras and we'll just be talking.
All right.
So, Jay, we need you to tell us your name and then spell it for us, please.
Okay, my name is Jay Lavender, and that's Lavender.
And what's your relationship to the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada?
I'm a general member of the society, and I have been for over 10 years now. And I'm also currently sitting on the Edmonton Center of the Astronomical Society in the capacity of treasurer on the executive.
How would you classify yourself when it comes to astronomy and your participation?
Well, I think I love astronomy. I love everything about astronomy, and I think my relationship with astronomy really is to I think share my passion really with it. So share that in the form of public education, or just members of my family, or people that we meet on the street in certain events that we call sidewalk astronomy, that type of thing.
So is this something that grabbed you when you were a kid?
It did, yeah, that's right. So when I was about 11 years old, there was Dr. Jack Windsor at the University of Alberta that put on a Make Your Own Telescope program. And my father and I were both interested in astronomy at the time, so we took the course. And the course involved building your own telescope, right from the optics to the tube to all aspects of the telescope. And so we built several. And of course, after you spend all that time and effort building something like that, of course you want to get it out into the field and try it out. And that inadvertently, taught me a lot about optics and that as well, sort of thing. So and I've just carried that forward. I was about 12, so that was 30 some odd years ago.
So after you built that first one, and then you went out and you used it, tell me a little bit about that experience.
So the nearest dark skies for us at the time was Elk Island National Park, about 45 minutes east of the city of Edmonton. And it just so happened that was the time that Halley's Comet was re-entering our solar system. And 12 or 13 years old at the time, to put that telescope up, get it aligned, get it in focus, and then actually see something like Halley's Comet was actually a lot to process. Again, this is a product that you've built with your own hands, and so I think I was happy, satisfied with that. But then you're also looking at this mysterious object that's now entering your solar system, so it was a little overwhelming, to be honest with you, but a great feeling of satisfaction knowing that this was optics that we had built with our own hands. So
Is that
That wasn't mine. I heard a phone, but I thought it was coming from. Was that not yours?
no, mine doesn't make that noise.
Oh.
mine's muted.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yours
Is
was
it-
making noise.
It's off. The
No.
sound's off.
Yeah, no, I don't know where that is.
Maybe it was your stomach.
I wonder if it's in Gina's purse.
Oh,
Yeah, it could be.
that's okay.
I never go in a woman's
Chances
purse. I
are-
know
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, that's
Never.
it.
Yeah.
It's like Fort Knox. Never go in a woman's purse. Can't touch
Now I lost my train of thought.
Him and his dad were in the telescope. They
Mhm.
built it. They were interested. They met the professor, and that's how he got into it.
Took it
Thank
out
you.
to Elk Island,
Elk Island.
saw Halley's Comet.
He was gone.
So, now what year would that have been that you had to go out to Elk Island Park to use your telescope?
To do the math quickly in my head here, so I guess that would have been 43 years ago. So
So that 1980s.
that's
isn't it?
right, yeah.
So, at the time that you built your first telescope and you went out to Elk Island Park, why did you have to go out there? Was it just that was a good place to go, or you couldn't use it in the city?
So it was both. So my father was a member of the Royal Astronomical Society back then as well. So it was already fairly well known that the Elk Island area was fairly good dark skies. Edmonton at the time was probably a little over 250,000 people at the time. So, but even then, the light dome that was cast by the city was pretty bright. So, had to get further out to get there.
Can we remove that? Sorry,
Laser person.
it's just,
I can't even hear it.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it either, but
Oh, maybe.
you got better. That's mine. Yeah.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
yours, sorry.
I'll check it.
Sorry.
I'm sure I muted
Yeah.
it, but.
I'm opening it.
No, I'm not looking.
No, she's got a phone with her.
I don't think she does. I think it's here somewhere.
Here's her phone.
Okay, so shut it off.
There, shut off. It was probably hers.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, mine was muted.
so skipping forward to today, from the time you were 12 years old and now today, you're still very heavily involved in the Astronomical Society. Why is that?
Well, I think you know there's a lot out there to see. There's a lot out there to learn, and you know the curiosity is just never ending. I think it's that primordial instinct in everyone to understand our environment around us. And the more that I look up, the more I realize I don't know, and the more I want to know. So I think that's half the equation. The other half of the equation is, as you do learn things, then you're compelled to share it. And so you do the public education. I belong to a couple of organizations, the Alberta Science Network, which connects astronomers with students in classes. And we get to share our passion with them as well. And so sharing that information with the public and with students, it's just amazing to see sometimes the look on their faces when we tell them certain things, right? So I think my own interest in it, as well as that desire to share that information, just keeps me going.
Now, I've heard the phrase citizen science. How would citizen science be used, I guess, in relation to being an amateur astronomer? Do you have a specific program that you're working with, or?
Yeah, so maybe if I just explain a little bit. So one of the benefits to amateur astronomers is there's a lot of us out there. And scientific grade optical equipment, there's not anywhere near as many. And I think just about a year ago, we were looking, there was about 120 science grade optical telescopes around the world. And when you have between 50 and 75,000 professional astronomers trying to observe things in the night sky with 120 telescopes, the competition is on for time on those telescopes. And so what quite a few people realized several years ago was that we have all these amateur astronomers out there that are looking at the night sky every night, and there's a lot of them. And so organizations like the American Variable Star Observer, it's the American Association of Variable Star Observers, AVSO, was put together, and they build that bridge between the amateur astronomer who can go out and make observations and record them in the AVSO database, and some quality assurance goes through that data, but then they make it available to the professional scientific community, and it's a lot of data. And I have spoken to several professional astronomers who have said a lot of their work has been based on the volume of data collected by amateur astronomers.
It's almost like the Christmas bird count.
Okay, sure. So yeah, so it's been very valuable. During my tenure with the Royal Astronomical Society, there are a lot of very talented people that go out every night with their telescopes. Some of them are just visual observers, and the science of photometry it can be satisfied just visually and by recording your visual observations. And there's a lot of members out there as well that have sophisticated camera equipment, that type of thing, and take the images and record data that way, and also share that with the scientific community. So there's a lot of very skilled individuals out there that are just looking up for.
So why do you come to Jasper? Like, it's a long ways to come, and it's damn cold out there, and you can't even get out to see the sky.
Yeah, well, again, when we even get out to Elk Island, which is about, I think it's about 50 kilometers outside of Edmonton, you still suffer some consequence of the light pollution. We can look south horizon, we can look north horizon, we can look east horizon, but west horizon, forget it, because you're looking over the city of Edmonton, and you can't see very much in a western sky from Elk Island. And so even though we get out there and we do have some fairly good skies out there, when you come out to Jasper this far away from a major city and major light pollution, even the most veteran amateur astronomer that I know is still mesmerized when he comes to Jasper and sees what a true dark sky really looks like here. So we see things even here that we don't normally see in our own dark sky preserves near the city.
So what would it take to turn the urban environment, the urban night sky, into something that was usable for astronomers, amateur astronomers?
Well, I don't think I don't think we need to change the world, but I think, as with most things, it starts with awareness. Recent provincial election, we had some candidates coming to the door asking us what were our concerns around the province, and when I mentioned light pollution and light abatement, I just got the blank look that most of them just had no idea what I was talking about. And I think from what I understand has happened with light abatement initiatives and that it really doesn't take much to bring it to people's attention and show the solutions that are available to help curb light pollution. And quite often it's, I'll say sometimes